She wanted me to go and live in a fucking homeless shelter, telling me, join the missionaries and they will help you and you can move into it. I was like, what are these weird life solutions? I'm not moving into a shelter. Like, what the fuck? So I was just looking at them, listening, this is so crazy. I can't wait to get out of this house. You homicidal bitch who's planning to murder your husband. And it's so crazy to tell me that. All right. I feel good right now. It's 5 o'clock in the morning of my brother's birthday, Tuesday, May 14th. I don't know if he actually was born on a Tuesday at 5 a.m., but it's Tuesday, May 14th at 5:02 to be precise. And I'm sitting in the desert, sweating my face off, drinking high-fat tea, still on this diet that I talked about just yesterday. I made a jug of black tea, as a black person does. It's 2 tea bags in this thing. It's 1 liter, so that's like, 16 ounces? It's 2 tea bags in there and 2 tablespoons of quote-unquote zero-carb French vanilla creamer, and 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup of some positive energy coconut, I don't know, dude, chocolate mocha flavored creamer. The French vanilla totals 40 calories. And the mocha, whatever, totals 30 calories. So that's 70 calories. And I put 2 full tablespoons of, I call it lard, but it could be anything. It's just a combination of all the, it's actually rendered fat. I rendered it from burgers that I made only in the last week. So it's like from bacon, not just bacon, but like bacon bits that have more fat in them, just like leftover stuff. So from that and from beef and whatever was extra, I threw it there. And I'm going through it fast, which is good. Because apparently the fat needs to be in my system, not in a container in the fridge. And I noticed that in the last couple of days when I put this fat concoction in my tea in the morning, it gave me loose stools. I don't care how my stools are. I want them out of me. So anything that's going to help this stools out of me is a friend of mine. So we've been doing this now. Changes that I've incorporated. So my period, by the way, I feel like at this point, I'm like narrowing. I'm like, what's the word? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God. My period last month was on the 17th, which is 1, 2, 3, 28. Tomorrow is going to be 28 days from the 17th. Normally, I would have my period today, day before the 28th day. And it's almost to a T. So I'm giving myself this, hopefully not false hope, that the scale is going to start moving once the period starts perioding. Because in the past, I've noticed that my periods would, just before the PMS gain, in the past I've noticed that I would lose a bit and be like, oh, finally, yay. And then I would start gaining. So, yeah, I would, and when I knew that, it kind of brought me comfort and understanding of don't feel bad when you gain weight due to PMS, because it looks jarring, because it looks like probably more weight than it probably is, because you took credit for the loss just before the gain. Meanwhile, it's all just the body balancing it out. It's all cyclical, right? In a way. So when I knew that, I was like, okay, so there's that loss that's going to happen just before my period, which is going to make me feel nice inside. And I would like fight to maintain that loss. But I would also understand that if I end up gaining during my period, which not during my period, but during my PMS. And then if that happens, then the other goal, because maybe I am just positive by default, because I always feel like, okay, so that didn't happen now, but there's a chance of this other thing, right? And then when that doesn't happen, I'm like, okay, but there's a chance of that. And when I look at that, I'm like, wow. Call me an idiot. Just call me an eternal optimist, because I always feel like, and that's probably why I'm still alive today, why someone like me has not offed themselves in the deep dark times, because I'm like, no, but what if I feel better tomorrow? What if? And I just, right? Anyway, I digress. So, let me take this. Yesterday I had, for the first time on this diet, because I'm trying to be mindful of, I feel like I'm missing, no. I'm trying to be mindful of what the fuck is going on around me. So sometimes I can be tunnel vision. So yesterday, the reason I'm saying that is because, oh my God, should I go sit outside? Dude, I'm so hot. It's not that it's that hot inside. It's going to be in the afternoon. But as of right now, I'm so hot based on the tea that I'm drinking. I wonder if there's someone next door. Maybe I should cover myself with, oh, here's the thing, perfect. You know, it's summer in the desert when I start exchanging sarongs and they start being everywhere, because other than that, I wear robes. Oh my God, yes. I probably should open the back door as well. Let the air circulate now before the sun takes over my life. Just to get the cool air, the hot air out of the house. So, it's just incredibly hot inside. I'm like, wow. The house really maintained all this heat. And why, you're like, can you maintain the cool air that I'm putting in? No, just the heat. Okay, fine. But I don't see you maintaining it when it's winter. In the winter, you maintain the coldness. I wonder how far my sound travels from here. This is one of my favorite things about the hot temperatures here in the desert, sitting outside in the wee hours. So, today's Tuesday. I just had a whiff now in my mind, so I want to talk about that. I don't know. My mind sometimes does these things. And I'll have like thoughts that intrude my mind, aka intrusive thoughts. I'm sitting here facing the main highway to Death Valley. And I just saw a car drive past. And in seeing that, I just thought, I just had this whiff of, oh shoot, I don't know why. Of like remembering a time when my life was hard. I'm gonna cry. Then, not cry because my life was hard before, but cry because of how free I am now. And how free one can be. You don't actually have to stay in a bad situation. You have to free yourself. You have to prioritize your freedom. You have to choose sanity. You have to get rid of the chaos. And sometimes it just feels undoable. I read a book recently that made me understand more, maybe be more compassionate to others who are in the situation that I'm in, that I was in, that I left, and why maybe it could have been easier for me to leave that situation than it possibly is for others, if that makes sense. I do have a little bit of compassion, but sometimes maybe I could have more. What the book said was abusive relationships, sometimes due to financial reasons, it can be. It was either a book or it was ChatGPT. They said, due to financial reasons, it can be hard for people to get out of the situations. And I immediately thought, by the way, my mind is stuck on, please don't let this be ChatGPT who said this. I'm reading so many books. I'm consuming so much data from books. Let me have had this aha moment from a book. And I think it was possibly one of the Dr. Romani or whatever. I think it was her book. Anyway, it says it's not you. It's a book mainly about narcissism and those relationships and coming out of that and those romantic dynamics, the family dynamics, that kind of anything around it. It was really a great book about narcissism. I'm talking softer now because I'm outside. I wonder how far my sound travels, because when my neighbors sit on the front porch, I never hear them, but also I'm always inside. So, what they said, when the thing about financial things really made me feel like, oh my gosh, when I think about the weird, it should not be underestimated, the security that comes with having your own money. Just like it shouldn't be underestimated the opposite, which is when someone is going to be controlling, one of the things that they make sure to do is to make you not be able to make your own money or to have money, or they ration the money that you get. It's like around the financial, that's why they call it financial abuse or economic abuse, something like that. It's when they don't want you to have that. Oh my God, I just had another visual of me sitting with one of my sisters here on my brain was kind of like having a deja vu moment of the voices of me and one of my sisters sitting here on the front porch. None of my family has been here. So that was an interesting thought, visual or vision. Maybe it'll happen. So maybe it won't, who cares? You see what I'm saying? It's like, so yeah, the book said something about that. And I thought, oh my gosh, maybe because I had money, I was able to leave the situation when I was taking care of when I came to America, I had some money. I converted some of my money to dollars. So I had that money. And I opened up an American account. I put money there. So I had money. It wasn't a lot, but it wasn't nothing, right? And then as soon as possible, I got a job. And they were weird to me. It got complicated where I was living temporarily. I was told I could just live there until I get a job. It wasn't even 3 months. Because within 3 months I got a job, thank God. But it wasn't even 3 months. It actually felt, in hindsight, it feels like it wasn't even a month. But maybe, I got a job around August, November, December. Wait, no, it wasn't like a month. I didn't live there for 3 months. Anyway, because my job was 3 months in November. And so October, September, August. And I came to America around June, end of June. So July, August. It was less than 2 months. Yeah, I thought so. Anyway, so when they were being weird there, I was thinking to myself, they were like, this one person who had nothing to do with my deal of living there was trying to kick me. Well, she was kicking me out. And I was like, I started going online and looking at rooms and couches and places that I can move to, that I can afford to. I had that option because I had money. So if the person thought that they could make me be destitute, they had another thing coming, and they had a wrong person for that. Because it couldn't, I'm realizing now that was an abusive dynamic, actually, because she was abusing me and she was trying to kick me out. But I wasn't living with her. I was like a roommate. You can't kick me out? What the fuck are you talking about? But she tried, and I left ultimately. And now my life is so much better. I bet you she doesn't have the peace and tranquility that I have now, if she's even alive. I think it was based on jealousy. She just looked at me and it looked like my life was better. I was prettier, and I was too light-skinned for her liking, which I like dark-colored people. I think they're more beautiful in my head. So, but she used to comment on that. Why is your skin so beautiful? You have all these things already, but you came from Africa. Yeah, because I'm in my 30s and I am responsible, and a person in the 30s, I'm tracking fine for people around my age. And I worked and I made money and I saved it. And so I sold some of my things to come to another country. So apparently, someone, she came out of a boat somewhere, and now she hates that my life looks prettier than hers does. Whatever, bitch. Like, why don't you fuck another stranger in the bathroom and break another fixture in the bathroom, fucking a stranger? Like, fuck off. Telling people that I didn't shower. What the fuck are you talking about? I was showering 2 to 3 times a day due to how hot it was. And he's saying I'm not showering. All right, fuck you. Anyway, who cares? My PMS is showing, right? And I think I was very smart by not disclosing my financial situation, because people see you differently. People judge you on how you look, and they treat you accordingly. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. People will judge you off your financial situation. Actually, maybe my neighbors are not even home, or one of them is. People will judge you on your financial situation. If, they think that that can be good or bad. They think that they can get something from you that they want. They might treat you a certain way. Or, you know what I mean? If they think that they're working harder than you, but you have more than them, that can be, you never know. You know what I mean? You never know which way it's going to go. But something's going to happen there. And these things can come before them just treating you based on who you are as a human, your attitude and your personality and all those shiny, bright things. It does happen. It's life. So I'm glad I was smart enough, and I think that maybe I had already learned the lessons around that aspect of life about money. Because I had lived already. I'm almost in my mid-30s, Thank God I didn't skip out on the lessons along the way. So, I'm like, okay, let me hide this part. Let me keep this part to myself and just be a human being. And I think that I kind of was more vulnerable, should have been, or whatever. And now you're seeing people treating me in just however ways. Maybe if I was paying, who cares? I don't want to spend too much time on that. But I say all that to say that there was, even when it got weird, I could have gone, I wasn't going to pay this lady who's trying to kick me out, who's the roommate of the person who's letting me stay there for free because she's already paying, but she's not there. So I wasn't going to pay her, and now you're getting, why am I paying you? You're paying half of rent. So why should that change just because your roommate I'm representing your roommate? No. So instead of paying her, I was willing to pay maybe even the same amount of money, but not to her, because it's also a principal thing. And you want me out. You didn't say you want me to pay. You said you wanted me out. So anyway, ultimately I got a job that paid more than what she was getting paid. And I went and I worked there. She was getting less than other people, and she was paying rent and she was traveling. I was to work, commuting. I worked in a job that was paying double what she was getting, and I was staying at my job. So I wasn't commuting, I wasn't paying for food, I wasn't paying rent. I'm not competing, but I'm just saying, now you're going to really be jealous, Anyway, I sent her money and I said, can you send my stuff? Because things got weird between, all of them are just toxic. So things got weird between myself and the main person now. Got iffy because apparently she got jealous of my money that I was getting. I'm thinking, I had money all along. You just didn't know about it. So you should have been jealous. This is long overdue, by the way. So anyway, I was going to send her like a gift card and thank her and whatever. Maybe this is one of the things, well, anyway, I was going to say maybe this is what happens when you don't write everything on paper. But we did discuss it, and I did know the terms. I followed the terms, and I was going to be kind and normal by thanking her, everybody who was involved in my life that way. I was getting them gifts and whatever. So this girl, so it got weird because they're all toxic and weird. And then the one who was kicking me out tried to make herself close to me, calling me or whatever, because she hated her roommate. So they all hate each other and me. So I was like, so I'm keeping that line of communication open because I needed my stuff out of the house. So I said, hey, can you pack my things and send them to me? Because she said they were thrown out of the closet. You know what? Now I'm realizing maybe that was not even true. Maybe, well, it could have been because of, anyway, it probably was true. It's just that now none of the details are important to me anymore. But I believed it because of how the main lady was being to me, telling me, you owe us rent. This is America. You thought you can just live here rent-free. I thought, what? I don't even live there. And she was like, this is not your storage unit. You need to pay for your things being here and whatever. Like, okay, like my clothes are in your closet. You want me to pay a third of rent for my things being in your closet? Like, fuck off. Like, I don't know. I still stand by how I felt there because I wasn't an idiot. Even then, I was a reasonable person. You want me to pay a small portion of your rent by keeping my things there, or if you want me to take my things out or whatever, you let me know. The initial deal was, I get my whatever, and I'm still trying to arrange to get a day off so I can move my things where I am, so I can have my stuff with me wherever I am always. So for you to just come out of the blue telling me this is America, like I didn't know this is fucking America, fuck you. So I just thought to myself, let me just take my shit out of there. The way that she addressed it, it doesn't make her the person that I want to pay money. Again, it goes back to the principal thing. So now I'm going to continue to pay you because you said, like, the fuck off, give me my shit. Like, let's cut off all ties. Now you're getting not what you were protesting for. So I got the initial loser to pack my shit, and she bought boxes. I'm thinking to myself, you don't have to buy boxes. They're trying to make me use all the money that I have because you can get boxes down the street at Walmart. I know she wouldn't have bought boxes for herself, but they just want me to be broke. But these bitches will never make me broke. I bet you have more money than these bitches even today, like forever in life, because a loser does what a loser is. Like, so she packed my bags, and then she said she mailed the thing, and I refunded her, and then she said she didn't get the money that I sent to her, trying to rob me. And I was like, okay, I'll send it to you again. And then I just blocked all her numbers because I had my shit, and you have the money. So, like, you think I'm an idiot? Really think I'm an idiot? Okay, that's adorable. They probably, wherever they are, they will never believe me. And the one who was a loser who was buying a gift card for, I contacted those people and I said, cancel that gift card. Can I have my money back, please? Because fuck this hoe. You make me a bad person? Let me show you what a bad person is. I still don't think I was a bad person in that situation, and I think they all got what they deserved, and I don't have any... I blocked everybody after that, changed my fucking phone number. And they tried to be like, okay, so why didn't you... They tried to get their friends to be like, why would you do that to her? He never even called her when her father passed away. I was like, oh my God, these bitches are still talking to each other. I blocked that girl too. Like, mind your business. All of you all are jealous of somebody. You don't even... Fuck off. Block. I would never reach out to somebody and say, why wouldn't you reach... I don't even know the story. What are you talking about? Block. And it's possible I haven't blocked everybody, and some of them are still sneaking and watching and whatevering, but I don't... Actually, you know what? There's a lady that... Let me block her right now. She should have been blocked a long time ago. Because I can't remember this lady having been in my life as a friend. Oh, I'm relieved that I won't even miss her presence because we never engaged in each other's thing, but I think she did mimic my life and my sister's, and that's creepy. And it took me long enough before I blocked her. So to go back to what I was talking about an hour ago, actually it hasn't been that long that I've been talking this. Thank God. So I was able to get out of that situation, and I could have gotten out of it even sooner if push came to shove, even though like it felt like it was a shove already. Because I think the person who was trying to kick me out was, oh my God, my dress. Someone bought my dress. Wow. How much do they pay for it? Oh, good. I hope they like it and they keep it. Oh, wow. Yesterday I sold one of my Levi's, and now I told one of my, this is from my own personal closet. Wow. Well, enjoy that. So they thought that that was a soft spot that was vulnerable. I think that's what they thought. And they thought that you're going to be homeless and destitute in America and I'm going to fuck up your entire life. And that was not, that wouldn't have happened. And also, by the way, maybe I would have figured out another way. Maybe I would have, moved in with a guy or whatever, who knows, or a girl or to a shelter. You don't know. You're not the boss of life. You know what I mean? So that happened. Well, it didn't happen. And then when my boss was also my landlord, I was living with, when I was in that weird predicament of insecurity because she could pass away any minute. I was told that the moment I arrived, they gave her only a few days and it became 3 months, thank God. In that whole time, I had to work on an exit plan because I was told that it's not going to last. I guess another option that I could have done would have been to shop around for somebody who needed a caregiver and go that route, which would have been so weird because at what point do you stop working for this one if she's still alive and start working for somebody else and then watch the other one die? You know what I mean? So I decided to go follow my dreams of coming to America and go to the West Coast. This is all happening in the East Coast. My point about that is I was able, because I had money in the bank, I was like, I'm in a position to find security so that I don't end up in between homes, which is the same thing I was avoiding. That those losers wanted to happen to me. They wanted, I think they wanted me to be homeless. It's not up to you. You know what I mean? You have no control over that. The world is large and there are options in life. You don't get to decide that I want this to happen, so I'm going to pull the rug from under you and therefore that's what's going to happen. And I wish people knew and understood that because it's that fear mongering that happens in abusive relationships where people start believing that, but I can't leave because how am I going to survive? That because they want you to believe that. It's false, okay? It's a fallacy. So I was able to, granted I didn't move somewhere where I'm going to pay, but I was able to secure myself a place and didn't stay there thinking, but I'm making money here, so let me stay as long as I can. Right? Because I have nowhere else. So I gave myself option and out. And I left that money to go and live with this person who was not a safe place, naturally. And I left that situation. But this whole time I had my money in the back of my mind as my cushion. It's so important. So when I got out of that situation into another gross situation, stayed there a little bit longer than the first situation, and I left there. I chose to leave that situation because, first of all, it was gross in all the possible ways in life. So, and one night I slept outside. That's when I knew, okay, this is not, I gotta go. And that whole night I was outside. I was looking at places that I can move to, and etc. So basically, the whole time I came, since I arrived in America, I was always on Craigslist trying to find a place. I just realized now. Oh my God, are you kidding me? There was just never a time when I was not looking for a place to live. When I was living with those losers who were trying to kick me out, I'm looking for a place to live. When I was living with the lady who was on a deathbed, I was looking for a place to live. When I moved in with that guy, I was looking for a place because he's kicking me out within a month. When I moved with the other loser, I'm sleeping outside, so I'm looking for a place to live. Like, how crazy is that? And it's, oh my God, accommodation is so important. And that's why people stay, right? They stay for that roof over their head. And then I moved from there to a lady's house who made it look like she's helping me out, and which she was, at the same time, you taking me on as a tenant. So, we're helping each other out. But okay, came and picked me out. She was so kind and generous. She came and picked me up from my house and, whatever. But you took me straight to a gas station and you made me fill your tank up. So, you know what I mean? But okay, you did get me out of this. And it's fine. I appreciate that she did all of that, actually, because I don't know what could have, if I were to choose somebody to do that, maybe they would have charged me more. And it just, she did help me. And she will always have that place in my heart. But she made it look like something that it wasn't. That made it icky a little bit. You know what I mean? You're not an angel. Maybe she was broke and would have, but she wasn't honest about it. Because I always ask these questions before, and so I know what's going on. And she was just being weird about it. And I guess, you have to be careful around people when it comes to money, because they will do things that are questionable because they really just want the money out of your pocket into their pocket. And the closer they feel like they're getting to that, the more desperate, because they can see, they can start to smell and taste it. So from that, I was looking for another place, because I wasn't going to live there and sleep with this lady in her bed and listen to her talk to men on the phone and copy my life and try to be me. It was just trying to be a single black female. Single black male, so, black male. And then, of course, I got a job with a person that I only stayed with for a weekend. While I was there, I was looking for a place. And I got out of that back to the first place. I think because the lady knew me now, the iffy lady, she was more kinder and more gentler and more generous, because now we're like friends. But within that time, I got an opportunity to go to another state and live there with somebody else. This is all very unstable. A lot of people coming through to help you and then turn around and pull the rug right from under you. You know what? Maybe I had a role in it, but I'm not taking ownership for it. Fuck all of them. Whatever, they can fuck off. Maybe I should sit down and reflect. No, I'm not reflecting on these people being horrible people and being mean to somebody who's destitute. No, sorry. They can reflect on it. Let them reflect on it. And if you look at all the trend, everybody was getting blocked as we move along. Every time I move out of that, block. The only person who didn't get blocked is the lady who had me back and was nice. And then I moved and dropped me up off the airport and was good. And once in a while we check on each other, because she treated me. That's why I say she'll have a special place in my heart, because she didn't pull the rug from under me at any stage. When it looked like the rug was being pulled by somebody else, she said, "Come back here." She just, so that was, in my heart, she'll have that special place. I don't care. That's why I know that I'm not making bad decisions by judging all the other losers along the way. I wonder how much memory these recordings are taking. Then I moved. So now I'm in another state, living with other people who ended up acting precisely. Maybe the lesson hadn't been learned, as other people would say. I don't believe in those kinds of things. I just think that just be nice to people. What are you talking about? I have to learn a lesson from this. You're the one who's being mean to me. Okay, the lesson is people are assholes. And I learned that. I knew that already. So I'm good. And, and then this South African lady was basically exactly the same as the other South African ladies when I first arrived. She did all the things that they did. It's just like, all right. And she kicked me out, which is what they did too. And unlikely for her. And she did try to suggest, first of all, she tried to marry me off to a really unattractive, scary-looking guy and said, marry him. And I thought, whoa, what? Would you marry him? Like, I don't care if he's giving me a green card. I'm going to have to sleep with him at some point. I'm not sleeping with this guy. Not for anything. So I was like, no. And I think that it was like a sabotage on their part, setting me up for failure. Like, I was like, no. Like, I don't even see it lasting long enough for me to get a green card, for me to be with this guy. It's just not worth it. Sorry. And I wanted to fall in love. So I got the fuck out of that. And I think these things of me not being desperate are so confusing to them when I don't do them. Like, okay, so you're not choosing this. You're practicing free will, really? Based on what? Because it's a free country, bitch. And so I think it also makes them be like, all right, then go. Like, you think you're going to continue to stay here for free? You didn't say I must come and live with you and you're going to set me up with a scary guy and then I can move in with them. That was not the deal there where we had. You were going to come and have me here so I can get a job and be stable and then we can continue to be friends and family and I'm going to get my own job. And I'm looking for a job. So what are you talking about now all of a sudden with these new side caveats? So I was like, no. And then another option was for your husband to kick me out and for you to say nothing while he's kicking me. It's exactly the same script that played out in when I first arrived with those two weirdos. And I was like, all right. And your solution to that was, why didn't I move into a homeless shelter? I thought, what the fuck? No. What? I'm not moving to a fucking homeless shelter? Like, so by that time, I got a job, which she did help tremendously with. I got a job, and unlikely for her, she wanted me to go and live in a fucking homeless shelter, telling me, join the missionaries, and they will help you, and you can move into it. I was like, what are these weird life solutions? I'm not moving into a shelter. Like, what the fuck? So I was just looking at them, listening, this is so crazy. I can't wait to get out of this house. You homicidal bitch who's planning to murder your husband. And it's so crazy to tell me that. And they're a bunch of criminals who've been in and out of jail, both of them. I need to write a book. So I was like, yeah. She was like, you need to get out by Wednesday. So I moved out earlier. I did them a favor. And I moved out sooner than that while everyone was gone. When they came back, I was fucking gone. And I left a note. Got the fuck out of that situation. You think I'm going to send you a thing and say, here's a thank you card? Fuck you. What? You've been so toxic to me the whole time I was here with your crazy two-year-old daughter who's really 50. No, thank you. I got the fuck out of that situation. So while I was there, I was looking for another place to live. Forget looking for a job and all the other stability things. I was just constantly looking for a roof over my head every time I was everywhere. And then I found my own place after that. And I stayed with those people. With that person who was high on drugs, seeing people in her handbag. So I knew that was not a safe place to stay. So guess what I was doing? Looking for a place to stay while I was there. And I found one. And then I got stable. I was paying rent. I got a job or whatever. And I finally breathed a little bit. All of these stories are to say I spent a lot of time looking for a place. In the first 2 years in America, I lived in about 14 different places. I don't think that's normal. I think it's survival, and I think I pulled it off, and I'm thankful that I did. And I think a great deal of it was the fact that I had a cushion of money that nobody knew about, that I did. I probably, would have benefited if I put it in a savings account. But I didn't know about those yet. There was no time to look at that and nobody to give me advice on that because I didn't tell them that I had it. And also, they didn't have any, so they also didn't know how money works. So it didn't never come up. And also, there was no time. I'm just looking for a place to live all the time. And I need to know that I have access in my funds. So I guess that was one thing. Like, I couldn't really put my money in a fixed account when I don't know what tomorrow holds. I'm always looking for somewhere else to move to. So from there, when I find it was stable there, it's like, okay, now let's plan the future. I'm not going to live in this fucking state forever. So I need to go back to California. And I did. So, of course, that involved me looking for a place to live. I moved there and I got a place and I lived with a guy who was trying to sleep with prostitutes in the same room as myself. So while I was there, I was looking for another place. Moved in with a guy as a roommate. These are not boyfriends. These are roommates who just are toxic. Moved in and I shared with a guy who tried to kiss me on the first time that I went to look at the place. So that was already a weird situation. But I was already in and I was like, And I moved in there and was trying to sleep with me the whole time, demanding sex. Like, you thought you were just going to live here and not put out? I was like, yeah, because I'm fucking putting out cash. So while I was there, I was looking for another place, and I found one, and I had my own apartment that I couldn't super afford. So I had people move in to be roommates, and they were all crazy, and they had to keep getting kicked out, because now I'm in a position where I can kick the other person out. But it's also taking away from my stability, because I'm always looking for somebody to come and live with me. So after just 2 roommates didn't work out, I was like, fuck it. Looking for another place. I moved to Vegas, and I stayed there for a year. And my life from then started being longer stretches before moving out, living with in my own little studio in Vegas for a year. I started focusing on looking for love, and because this aspect, this urgent issue is taken care of, thank God. And I was able to be like, yes, no, because I had my foundation, and because I had my money. Even though I didn't have a green card, I have my money. So, and I'm realizing that I can, maneuver around these parts. I had enough money to be able to make those choices. So the whole trend here is that. My throat hurts now. And then from that, I moved to my place in Beverly Hills, which was even more. It was like more than 3 times what I was paying in Vegas. And now I have a car too, and whatever. But even then I was like looking for somebody to be my roommate or whatever. And that was not, easy. I wasn't able to just find one person. Well, I didn't want one person. I wanted them to keep coming, and I wanted to have gaps in between where I had the whole place to myself and enjoying it. So that somehow worked out. I was still looking for love, and I found love, and I moved in with him, and we got married or whatever. And that was toxic. So I think that there was a shift now from me constantly looking for a place to stay, but to me constantly looking for love. Not that I ever stopped looking for love while I was looking for a place to stay. They were running concurrent. But now I'm looking for love. I found love, and then it got weird, and I started looking for both a place to stay and for love, but mainly for a place to stay, because now I'm even more not more financially stable, but hireable. An understanding of life in America. I'm in Los Angeles. This is crazy that I was doing all of this next to Los Angeles. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm surviving in California. And I got the fuck out. He thought that he had the upper hand because of money. But even he didn't know what I had. It never came to that. None of them ever made me feel secure enough that we opened up about the finances. They didn't open up about their finances either. Even the one I married. So I was like, all right, move the fuck out and divorce. Had my own place, lived by myself, no roommate whatsoever, none necessary. So that was cute for me. And I was like, wow, that was such a freeing life for me. And then I found somebody, and we were together for like a year. He tried it. There were a few months in, so I knew he wasn't going to be a lifelong person. I knew in the beginning already, because I wanted to have like a not serious relationship for once, that I walk into knowing that it's not going to be serious. I wanted to be that girl, I'm in my 40s, like 40 years old or whatever. So I wanted to do that. So I found somebody who's not my type. And I haven't been able to open myself up since then. He left such a mark. Maybe it is good that I went that route. And I'm like, oh my gosh, He was a good time in the sick. He didn't have a shitty personality. His personality could have been better. But, you know, he was like mysterious, which is hot. And. But I never, like, from the time I was 40, that's when I started feeling more stable. I was stable in South Africa, and my own home, my own car, own job, own all of those things. When I came here, it was survival mode, boom, 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 which is so different from, life as I knew it. And it's like, wow, it's not like I came here and I had to adjust to the culture and the whatever. No, I had to survive for more than 5 years of being in this country. That's crazy. At least, under 5 years maybe. Anyway, so I was like, when that didn't work out with him, why am I doing a live photo? Who cares? So when I didn't work out with that, I went tracking, which is now me trying to figure out, am I always just, actually I understand why I went tracking. I wanted to buy a home, I wanted more stability, and I wanted to reach, goals that I had. I wanted to buy a home when I'm 42. That was my goal when I was 27, buying my first home. So I bought this home 2022. So I was 1977. So I was 44. A couple of years late. So I bought 2 homes, got my duplex, and I was like, you know what, let's hold off on roommates and tenants and whatever. And I think now, having gone through my entire life in America, it does make sense. And it was actually the year that I was going to turn 10 in America, 2012 until 2022. So I was still 9 in America when I bought my home. If on a scale of comparing to other people, maybe it was late, but I think it was excellent timing and great moves on my part. And I think, by the way, the other trend here is that living with other people is not for me. I am hardly ever stable when I feel safe and stable when I live with other people. It always comes to a point where I start looking for another place again, whether it's my place or it's theirs. So maybe it is important that I don't have a tenant here or whatever. And even now, this was all triggered by me sitting on the balcony in a sarong, realizing how safe I feel. All the things, the experiences that I talked about, I don't have those problems anymore. I manifested those things. Well, the one thing that I continuously was looking for, love, I'm not looking for that right now. I would love it, obviously, in my life. And I would love, it would be nice. It would be nice, but it's also, it's not a priority because I've lived many lives and I've found what looked like love at first sight, at first glance, and whatever. And it was presenting it in a way that it wasn't, and all the things. And that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means I'm good in that right now. I'm not in a rush. I'm just prioritizing stability. I'm prioritizing freedom. I have financial freedom, which I think partly I learned that from a young age, from coming from poverty and from not feeling taken care of by my own. I love hearing side of the story when she talks about how, when she's proud of how she took care of us and whatever. But I'm out here dying of loneliness because I don't feel like the things that did and fucked me up. No clue. It's kind of amazing. It's part of, the narcissistic personality trait, whatever. What are you supposed to dock yourself? Go to the dock. What are you doing? I ended up that on a weird note, but it's been an hour of talking. My throat hurts. Trying to get the vacuum cleaner, which did a very abysmal job of vacuuming this spot. This area is still dirty, and I'm going to take a broom now and sweep it. It had all day to do it, and I kept turning it on, so it wouldn't do it. Now I'm trying to get it dark, and it's still not darking. So that's that on that. But it all started with me. It is me reflecting on life. And like you can hear the birds chirping in the background. It's my house, and I live here. And I own it 100%. I don't care what people saying, you never own anything that the government owns. Well, it's mine. It's on my name. It's not the government's name. I know of houses that are under the government's name, and this is not them, okay? So, fuck you and fuck off. I just gotta keep it mine now. And just like always, I have money in the bank, but I want it to grow. So we're working on those aspects of life. But there are times when I do feel retired in a way. Don't tell the government that. Anyway, bye.